here we are. What we thought was that there aren't enough videos on YouTube about the Nikon Z9. We thought YouTube is crying out for another Z9 video.
There's a big market there to fill, I think.
Yeah, so let's go for it.
Yeah. The Z9, any features of it that would compel you to make the jump to get it?
So we spoke about this in one of our early videos when we were in a derelict Victorian villa, when things were first being leaked about 7 months ago.
Yeah.
I think we both said then it's not for us, although we did admit, or I at least admitted, I love gear. So
Yeah.
I'm still in that position really, like, I don't need it.
No.
I sort of want it.
What are the features that would stand out to you?
Obviously autofocus.
Right.
Although, to be honest, I'm getting on okay with the Z6 Mark II autofocus. But yeah, it's got to be attractive. That's really sort of almost class. It appears to be almost class-leading autofocus, so that's got to be attractive. What doesn't appeal to me particularly, stating the obvious, is the size of it and the weight of it, because I saw a photograph of it next to a Z6 II, and it's like twice as high. It's probably twice as heavy. More than twice as expensive.
I mean, that's the thing. The major thing, really the only thing that appeals to me is the incredible autofocus tests we've seen are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
They are good.
So all I really want is that to drop down to these Mark IIs, which they should, because we've bought these for two processors, right? We've got two processors.
No, it won't.
I know that it's a different sensor, stacked sensor.
It's the processor. We've got XSpeed 6 processors in
two
those.
of them.
So, having two Morris Minors instead of one doesn't equal a Ferrari, does it?
Yeah, but I don't think they're actually using the capability of those two processors.
Well, they might not be, but the two XSpeed 6 processors doesn't equal one XSpeed 7 one.
And I know the Z9, it's got a whole new stacking sensor thing that looks incredible. But even so, that's the only thing that appeals to me.
But, okay.
We're not wildlife photographers, we're not sports photographers generally. I can imagine the appeal to those people who want that, but they probably already jumped ship already.
What you're really hoping for is a Z6 Mark III with an XSpeed 7 processor in it, which might be called a Z something else, I guess. Yeah. But then there is an argument that says this is their flagship sort of hero camera at the top, which is brilliant. So are they then going to give you one of the, or some of the best features of it in a smaller camera at say half the price?
Yeah, well, technology
seems to
go that way. I think they will. But so yeah, the Z9 is not for us. Our user case, it's not for us, is it?
No.
But we can see the appeal of it, and we hope it goes really well. I don't want a bigger camera again.
No.
But anyway, so yeah, the Z9 is not for us, but we're glad it's out, and we're glad that it's been pre-ordered. It's going to do well, and to continue the whole Nikon journey, basically. The next release, the 100 to 400. Is
it 4.5 to 5.6?
Something like that, yeah. Are you appealed by that? Because this is the first wildlife lens, half wildlife sports lens available.
Yeah,
We've been waiting
that does appeal to me. And I think you said it will use the 1.4 teleconverter.
Yes.
Which,
for better, for worse.
Exactly. If you look back at our previous bit controversial, we didn't really find it of a massive benefit.
But would it make use of it better now? Because that would be a 400.
Possibly,
That would be a 6 something. So it'll be a 520 with a 1.4 converter.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get it. It's not for me.
Oh, okay.
The price. Have you seen the price?
No.
£2,600.
It's a 4.5 to 5. Well, I suppose it's going to be because of the extra focal length. Well, no. So what's the one that's about 900 quid then?
No, well, that's the lens we're going to talk about next.
All right.
But so, it's £2,600 last time I looked at it.
Right.
That's more expensive than the 70-200 2.8.
Which is an amazing lens.
Which is one of the best lenses they've ever made, right?
If it wasn't illegal to sleep with a lens, I'd sleep with that lens. Is it illegal?
I don't know. It's £2,600 for 100 to 400 lens. Again, for our user case, we would love to have it, but we're not dedicated wildlife or sports photographers, so I'm not going to pay that kind of money for that.
No.
I think that's really expensive. I mean, it looks like, and I've seen some reviews of it, and it's no great sharpness than the previous models.
No.
using the old F lenses.
Is it a similar size to the 70 to 200?
It's a nice size. It's a nice size. It looks great, nice build. I'm sure it's a great lens. But
yeah. Is there a third release then that you're going to buy?
Well, the third release is the 24 to 120 f4.
Right.
Are you tempted by that?
I'm not, to be honest.
Because what's the best comparison that's available already at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's obviously faster than a 24 to 200, but the 24 to 200 is incredibly sharp in good light.
Yeah.
I think it goes up to f6 fairly quickly. But obviously it's got a bigger range, stating the obvious.
Well, that's the thing, right? I don't like f4 lenses. Generally, I don't like them. Because they're either here, they're there. They're no good in low light compared to the 2.8s. And they just don't seem to hit the mark.
You liked my old 70 to 200 f4F, man.
That was back in the old days.
Before we got a 70 to 200 2.8.
But if you think about it, right, the 24 to 70 f4 is redundant now. We've done that in previous videos.
I love it.
Yeah, but compare it, what would you buy, 24 to 200 or that 24 to 70 f4?
Yeah, I know we've had this discussion.
Yeah, we have on other videos. The 24 to 200 is cheaper.
You're redundant. Whoa.
So the 24 to 200 is cheaper, and it's probably lighter, and it has a better range. And the f4 to f6.3 isn't that much difference, really, at that end of the scale.
And the one thing to bear in mind with the Z cameras is amazing in low light. So you can whack the ISO up on, when the light starts going with your 24 to 200 and still get good shots.
And at f4, that's not a major, that doesn't allow much
massively shallow depth of field.
Or allowing that much more lighting at that end of the scale for me.
I bet you the depth of field at 120 f4 is around about same as 200 at f6.
Yes.
With the extra compression. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's £1,000, that lens, which isn't that bad of a price, I suppose. But if I was to, I don't have either of them, so if I was going to have one, I'd probably get the 24 to 200 because of the price and the extra range, unless it's been untested yet though.
Right.
So this is before that we've seen the reviews of it. Because...
What is for us then? What are we waiting for?
I don't know.
All of these three things is not for us.
No, because an f4 is no good to me. For a wedding, an f4 lens would be no good to me at all.
No, I get that.
And the 2.8 is, it can be, even that can be tricky in a low light situation, like the ceremonies are always dark, subdued light. An f4 lens would be no good to me unless it was outdoor the whole time. So yeah, the 24 to 120 is not for us. So there's three releases that aren't, we want them to do well. I'm sure they're all great, but they're not for us. They're not our user case scenario. Really?
You'd buy the 100 to 400 if it was half that price, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. If it was £1,500, I would buy it now.
Yeah.
But it's £2,500.
Yeah.
I could buy the 70 to 200 and have change.
Yeah.
And
then I could sell you a 1.4 teleconverter to go with it.
Well, what we would like to see is, I'd like to see 1.4 lenses come through. That'd be really good for me. A 51.4, or dream world would be a 24 to 70 f2 like the
Canon 28 to 70 f2.
That would be an amazing lens.
Yeah, it would.
You wouldn't need the primes, those 1.8s anymore.
No.
All in one lens.
Yeah.
And then I could have 1.450 on the other body. That's what I would like to see, really. And I know people go on about the autofocus. Some people like it, some people don't like it of these. I find it tricky in low light. I really do. I think it could be a lot better.
Yeah. I mean, I found when we were doing that wedding the other week that, particularly in low light, I was using the 51.8 on one camera and the 85 and the focusing was tricky. I wasn't even trying to use eye autofocus. I would never do that at a wedding.
So that's what we'd like to see, but we're happy with the equipment we've got so far. This is just our opinions of the new releases, which we're glad to see. We're not going to get.